Every time with Fofolicious Food Bite is always a pleasant time. Today I'm sharing with you one of my food journeys. But before I start, I sincerely appreciate my subscribers, everyone watching and sharing. You are all so amazing. Thanks for your comments. They are encouraging, interactive, and interesting. My story today is a food discovery, and it goes back to when I was 7 years old. My parents had to travel back to England, and my maternal grandmother was there to take care of us children. We call her Iyabekuta. She is from Abekuta, but as children, we couldn't pronounce where she came from correctly. So we shortened it to Iyabekuta, meaning Mama from Abekuta. She was such a great cook, and here is my story today. At this particular time, we were living in Sokoto. We had expatriates all over the estate, foreigners, and our direct neighbor was an Indian family. Remember I told you my grandma was such a great cook. There was this particular dish that my grandma makes that always, and I mean always, brings this Indian woman to our doorstep. Beans! Let me share with you my grandma's beans recipe that brought two nations' food together. My ingredients today are beans, tomatoes, rodo, tatashe, onions, palm oil, seasoning, geisha. It's a canned mackerel fish in tomato sauce. My grandma always put in geisha, flour, vegetable oil, and salt. So this is how grandma makes her beans. Wash the beans, pour in boiling water. I'm using the brown beans like my grandma, but you can also use the white beans. Add onions, cover to boil. Back to my story. I was 7 years old, but I was a super curious child, and I noticed how the Indian woman shows up on Beans Day. After many visitations and exchange of beans with the Indian neighbor, my grandma quickly understood that this Indian woman really loved the beans recipe, and my grandma always extend a bowl of beans to her whenever she cooks beans. I'm checking my beans now. It's soft, and as you can see, I'm not going to mash it. In goes the pepper mix, the seasoning, the salt. Wait a bit, then I can mix. After mixing, then I'll pour in the palm oil. I can already smell, lovely aroma. And you know what? I can clearly remember the aroma and the Indian woman saying, "Grandma's beans, nice." Everywhere is filled with aroma and flavor. I can't really get everything she said, but I can still remember, in bits. It's a long time. Now I'm checking the beans, I'm mixing it, and it's time to add the geisha. And the beans is ready. Very beautiful. Look at the color, the beans, everything. I told you I was a curious child. My grandma would ask me to collect back the bowl from the Indian lady, our neighbor. I always wonder why she loved the beans so much. Then one day, I saw her making something round, flat on the frying pan, and she set it just close to her beans, Then I was just wondering, that's flatbread, she said. Reading my wonderful little mind, flatbread. Immediately, I stored all the steps of making the flatbread, and today I'm making the flatbread just like the Indian woman showed me. Sieve the flour, put it in a bowl. Add a pinch of salt. Make a well in the flour and add warm water. After mixing together, you add your 2 spoons of vegetable oil. Mix together. Cover and allow it to sit for just 5 minutes. Then cut in small pieces, roll into small balls. And then roll it flat on the board in a circle. Just make a circle around flat bowl. Brush the fry pan with vegetable oil. Put the flat dough in the hot pan. Allow it to pop up with a lovely char and it's done. Serve the beans and the flatbread. So very delicious. The beans is so tasty and eating it with a flatbread is like, wow, this is really nice. And here is how the Indian woman started bringing flatbread to my grandma and takes a bowl of beans back home. Again, as a curious child, I had to try my own flatbread. I didn't get it at first, but eventually I did. I didn't make it for so long as a child growing up, but I kept this wonderful memory, and as I have grown up, now I have recreated this flatbread so many times with even a lot of twist. Thank you so much, my Indian neighbor, for your impact on my life. A wonderful impact can be created in a very simple way. And I say thank you also, Grandma, for sharing your beans with our Indian neighbor. Finally, please encourage positive impact and always be kind. You never can tell. Someone might tell their story of how you impacted them one way or the other. Please recreate today's recipe. Keep watching Fofolicious Food Bites, subscribe and share more food journey, story and recipes here.